Boom! Hi, good morning. Lex is here. I have a little story that I want to share with you. About 2 weeks ago, on a weekend, my girlfriend and I, we went to a wedding. We went to our first wedding as a couple, which was, of course, super exciting. It was a beautiful situation. Some of the best times, one of the best weekends I've had this whole summer was like our friends who got married, they got their families together and a bunch of friends, and where it was like in this old, almost mansion by a lake in the middle of nature. The lake was amazing. It wasn't super fancy. I mean, it was pretty nice. It was super nice, but it was more like really romantic. And something happened, and so we got there. We went there early, so we stayed a night earlier before most of the guests arrived. And so my girlfriend and I, we get up in the morning. It's Saturday morning, and we're hungry, right? And so we go down to the breakfast area, and there's this massive spread of breakfast. And I don't know why. It was, maybe the fresh air or just, feeling good. And I like packed a plate with bread and spread and butter and eggs, and I just went to town. Loved it. I had a really good breakfast. So we're sitting outside. My girlfriend and I were sitting on that porch overlooking the lake. It's in the morning. It's not too hot yet. It's really nice, and I'm like stuffing my face with food and having a fantastic time. And while we're eating, and I probably have like my whole face is full of like strawberry preserve because I was like so digging it. This guy, part of the reception, part of the wedding, his name is Tex. He sort of emerges. So we're on that porch, we're eating, we're like drinking coffee, loving life, and this guy comes up. He's a little bit older than I was, and he has this look on his face. And as we had just met, and we're like, hey, good morning, how are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. Where are you coming from? We asked, and he's like, yeah, I just did yoga on the lake and meditated. I did my morning practice, and something struck me in that moment, because I'm feeling really good. I feel really relaxed. I look at him, and I see myself about 5 years ago, and I realized that, wow, there is something about doing something every day. So he had just done maybe a half an hour or an hour of yoga and meditated. However, I could tell that it was a struggle. It was like his vibe was, I didn't see any joy in his eyes. He was like, hey, everybody, how's it going? He was really serious about it. And I did this exact thing for like 10 years, where it happens to be yoga in the morning. I happen to have a morning practice, and it was really important to me, to a point where it was this sort of like me against myself, like a struggle. And when he said, yeah, I just got back from doing yoga in the morning, on the lake, I felt like it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like he enjoyed himself. um, and I remembered then, when I was doing my yoga back in the day, I think oftentimes I had a similar sort of subconscious, unconscious sort of struggle, and almost like punishing yourself attitude, which is crazy, because yoga can be so much fun, and it's supposed to liberate and open you up. But I could see in him really that he was closing off more than he was opening up, even though he just did something that's supposedly spiritual. And I thought about this a lot. So this happened, and then about 10 days ago, a few days after this event, again, my girlfriend actually mentioned something that she had read in a book, which was, the quote was, "Personal growth is not personal healing." And this really stopped me. I was like, I took it in. I didn't comment on it when she said it, but I kept on thinking about this. And I kept on thinking about it and thinking about it. Healing, personal growth, what's the difference? Where, why? And I realized that for the last 10 years, I've been focused very much on personal growth, and that is, sort of the struggle. And that's when you, I don't know, go jogging in the morning, even if you don't want, you sort of punish yourself. You sort of like whip yourself into shape to become something that you want. And that's personal growth. And I think personal growth is great. And I'm not, I still do it myself. I challenge myself to do things. However, when she said that, I was like, wow. I think I've been really good at personal growth, but personal healing, I don't think I've ever even considered like sort of a softer approach, a more, like a softer, a healing process. And I decided actually really quickly, that I didn't want to go back to like being that guy in the morning who's like super proud and like does his yoga because it's a struggle and he wants to, sort of like whip himself into shape. And this could be anything. This could be yoga. This could be going running or sports or a gym. There's nothing wrong with the activity. It's more the attitude, right? It's why am I going into this? And I started about 2 weeks ago. I started like actually focusing my mind only on the concept of healing. And healing, this is first of all, really fluffy. And I think even I wasn't really into just this vibe, but I realized that a lot of what I want to accomplish in my life is directly related to how healed I am, I guess. And I realized, I want to, instead of beating myself up, instead of that, I would like to heal in terms of the relationship I have with myself. I would like to heal the relationship I have with others. And I would like to heal sort of how I feel. And as soon as I started focusing on this concept of like healing, which is sort of like everything sort of, to me at least, melting back into a place that is good and it's flowing. I started actually for the first time actually internally looking at what's actually hurting, which is interesting because when I started about 10 days ago to say, okay, I want to heal. I don't know why I couldn't even tell you 10 days ago, but I was like, I think this is really, really important right now. And I started focusing on that. And as soon as I did, like actually the things that I had been ignoring that were hurting for a long time started emerging. And that, it was about like I started feeling physical pain in my body for the first time as soon as I started focusing on it. And I was like, oh, this, I thought this would be easier. But I also had to recognize that there's so many things in my life where I was like, wow, I've sort of intentionally not looked there because it hurts. This is about self-image, of course. This is about personal where I'm at right now. Like there's a bunch of stuff that where I'm not, where I want to be eventually. And so I started having to look into what hurts and actually start dealing and accepting this pain and the fact that maybe I'm hurt or I'm wounded from something that happened a while ago. And this took time, and it was actually more exhausting than any sort of personal development. Do this one thing every day for like this is great, but focusing on healing has been it took a lot. It's been taking a lot of mental energy. However, at the same time, I feel like it's doing exactly. I've started to actually develop a self-care practice. Which is so interesting. So funnily enough, how we go through cycles, I decided, I think that restorative yoga is actually a really good way to sort of make sure the body is in tune. So restorative yoga is a very slow, very soft, very, restorative practice. And I decided, you know what, and this is more about the intention than the practice. I decided I'm going to practice every morning. I'm going to be really, really, really good to myself, because I have some personal growth projects right now, and business growth projects that will require a lot of energy, and do require a lot of energy. So I said, you know what, how could I have not seen this, to set an intention in my life to make sure that I'm healing. And once I have healed, we're talking, more psychologically than physically, but I think it goes together. Once I have healed and once I feel like I'm whole again, to maintain that. And so, so I'm in that zone right now, and it requires energy, it requires attention, it requires practice. However, the intention, the attitude is really something very soft and really sweet, and really rewarding. And I've noticed in the last few days how, since I started like 6 days ago, I started like a daily morning restorative practice, which is slow yoga, really nice, really, really mellow. I start my day really with a half an hour to an hour of like slow and enjoyable and caring and self-caring practice. I really enjoy it, and it feels like black and white to what I was saying with the guy in the morning who, when he came up from his yoga and his practice, he was so serious about it. And so I don't think he was healing. That, if anything, this is looking back, and what the vibe was that I saw when this guy appeared while I was stuffing my face with bread, was that he was hurting and he wasn't healing, and he wasn't caring for himself. And I had been, as I was saying, I had been in that place, and it just doesn't lead anywhere. So I would say self-growth, personal growth, without an attitude, without a supporting, sort of caring counterbalance to growth and challenge and hurt and growth pains, they're all good. But unless I have like a counterbalance of self-care and restoration and care and love and healing, you're just gonna flop. You're gonna just like eventually fall over, and I did. And so so this is the news, and this is the story I want to share with you. A quick recommendation. I think this whole sort of change in awareness was triggered by a book. This is in German, but you've probably heard about it. It's the KonMari method, which is the magic of tidying up by Marie Kondo. This I picked up randomly about a month ago. There's a step-by-step book on how to clean up your own house, and I will probably talk about this maybe tomorrow or at some point in manga form. So I actually really, really like this, even if you may not like mangas. This is the step-by-step book on how to clean up in your house. And I did this about a month ago, and it's really challenging, and it's really good. And I think this is what brought me to the place that I'm speaking to you about now, where I feel like I've made a transition into a new sort of much softer, much more powerful at the same time, and much more human space. And my apartment behind me, you can't see much, but I cleaned up according to this book. And I think this sort of took away the clutter in my actual life, in my physical life around me, that I could start even considering tackling the clutter that's sort of here emotionally, psychologically, and physically. And so I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I hope this was inspiring. I've been absolutely inspired. I love it. And it's all about the attitude. I think you need to have a self-care and a healing practice and process in place as part of, if you're challenging yourself in any other way, which I'm sure you are. So don't forget to be good to yourself. Find something that's good and that's healthy that you can do every day, just like I do with my restorative practice in the morning. And remember, it's the attitude. It's what starts here. What's your idea? Where you want to go? And if it's, I can only say, like, having my focus on the concept of healing, of sort of bringing together things again that were maybe apart, has been amazing. And I'm glad I still hurt, and a lot of things that I come up with internally, like emotions and memories and thoughts. Some of them are really hurtful. Again, like, I'm not going to lie, this is not like a easy cheesy like quick fix to anything. It's actually, it brings you even further down, like facing what you fear, and it's been challenging. And some of the days I just fall into bed at night and I'm done. And at the same time, I feel it's not growth, it's healing, and I love it. So I hope you can heal too. Let me know if there's any way I can help you with this. If you're interested, I'd be happy to jump on a call or anything. If you feel like, oh yeah, this sounds right, this has the right vibe, I'm super happy with it, and I would love to share that with you. So if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. So until then, bye bye.